Saffron, vanilla, tonka bean, suede leather, coffee, cardamom. We are talking about a fragrance by Omanluxury, and this one is called Kaden. Now, here's the thing. If you're interested in saffron-based fragrances or leather-based fragrances, what we're looking at here is best in class. There's so many leather perfumes on the market. There's Tom Ford's Tuscan leather, there's ombre leather, there's Pure Distance M. There are so many incredible leather-based fragrances. And usually it's saffron that makes up the composition of a leather-based fragrance well. Here we have a leather-based fragrance like no other, the amber, the vanilla, the benzoin, the coffee. It's spicy. You have some boozy notes in the opening. So this is actually a very complex leather-based fragrance. And I'm going to talk to you all about this fragrance that I recently discovered as of the last couple of weeks. But before I dive into the review, I do beautiful magnetic cap, by the way. Before I dive into the review, I do want to mention that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and also please give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really, really mean a lot to me. And I do want to mention, if you're interested in picking up this fragrance, purchasing it, sampling it, whatever the case may be, you may do so at maxaroma.com. All of the links are going to be down below. It's not an affiliate link. I don't make any commission off of you discovering this product, but I do want to locate it for you for easy access purposes. Now, this is a beautiful saffron and leather fragrance. Now, if you're not familiar with the smell of saffron, it can be quite herbal. It can be quite spicy, literally speaking, and it also conveys leathery touches and tones. This is a leather perfume through and through. It smells super luxurious. Imagine you're going out, you're dressed to impress, you have a beautiful suit or a very elegant dress on. You want to convey a sense of mystery or intrigue. This is not an easygoing fragrance. So for that reason, it's not the type of perfume I would recommend to just anybody. But if you have any level of familiarity with leather-based perfumes, chances are you're going to fall in love with this one. Now, as a frame of reference, if you've ever tried Tom Ford's ombre leather, I know that one can be a bit polarizing. It can be hard to get along with, especially considering the fact that some people have even equated it to the smell of cigarettes or an ashtray or something like that, which I know sounds quite preposterous for many of us, especially those of us who absolutely love that DNA, myself included. I love Tom Ford's ombre leather. I've had a bottle in my collection now for a number of years, pretty much since it came out. Same thing goes with Tuscan leather. I purchased my bottle way back in 2012, and that one is a bit easier to get along with because of the berry note that is in there. Well, this one has so many other mysterious elements tied to it. It has the coffee, it has the cardamom, it has this hodgepodge of spices in there. And I am certainly getting more saffron than cardamom. If you ever debated whether or not you should pick this one up because of all of the spices, please take note. This is a spicy fragrance. But this is definitely for that person who wants their fragrance to stand out. Do you want to smell mysterious? You want to smell like nobody else in the room? This is not easygoing. This is not a mass appealing fragrance. And here's the thing, Omanluxury, like I have one here called Voyage. Voyage is wonderful, right? That one is a bit more easygoing. They also have one called Paramour, which I personally love. But truth be told, this is one that is not for the proverbial faint of heart. This is a perfume for somebody who's looking for that darker olfactive expression, the type of person who wants others to think, wow, what is that person wearing? Where did they get their fragrance? I've never smelled anything like that before. If you want them to question the amount of money that you have in your bank account, because let me be honest with you, this perfume definitely smells rich. It is super rich, very elegant. This is, in my opinion, a special occasion type of a fragrance. This is not the type of fragrance that you wear when you're running errands. This is not casual. This is not going to be your daily driver. And I think for a lot of people, because of how intense it is, they're not going to want to wear it in the spring and summer. So I totally get it if you're waiting for the autumn to sample this one or pick it up. But my suggestion to you would be, if you're a fan of leather perfumes, don't wait to try this one. And if you are that person who is quite conscious with regard to when you wear certain fragrances, if you take season into consideration and you're thinking to yourself, my goodness, I don't want to wear something that's too heavy or ambery or rich or intense in the hotter months of the year, because yes, it could end up being quite cloying, then this might be the fragrance that you want to wait to wear when it starts to get a bit cooler outside. I live in New Jersey, so in the tri-state area, we get all 4 seasons. When it's hot, and when it's cold, it's cold. Not like my Canadian friends that experience sub-zero temperatures. It doesn't get quite that cold here, but this is definitely the type of perfume that, in my opinion, and as far as it caters to my personal taste and how I love to wear fragrances, I'm going to personally wait until October, November to really wear this one with consistency and to really let this one shine. I love the smoothness of this fragrance. And you know what? I also really admire the fact that as many leather perfumes as I have in my collection, I can't quite pin this back down to any one leather fragrance that I own. As a matter of fact, it is giving me vibes similar to some other niche perfumes that I may have encountered, but it's not a one-to-one match. And I will say this, and this makes me very happy to say this, it doesn't smell anything like Tuscan leather. And I'm so glad that they've deviated from that DNA, which I think is so overdone. I mean, if I get another Tuscan leather DNA, I'm going to flip a switch, because it's one of these things where we need to learn how to phase out of that, right? We need to start to deviate from the BR540 DNAs, the Creed Aventus DNAs, the Santal 33 DNAs. And even as of late, you know, there's a lot of Kayali DNAs on the market, Yum Bougie Marshmallow, Vanilla Rock Candy, or is it Vanilla Rock Sugar? One of those two. But there are so many tried and true DNAs on the market that it seems like whenever any of them reach a certain degree of popularity, every other designer and niche brand follows suit, and the clone brands forget about it, right? Everybody wants their version of all the hits, and it makes sense, right? Because they sell, and people are always looking for affordable alternatives to some of these really popular niche and designer DNAs. But the wonderful thing about this one is that it doesn't smell like anything else that I've tried. Of course, loose comparisons can be made here and there, but at the end of the day, this one has the uniqueness. It stands on its own 2 feet. And that's something that I really admire about this one. Very mysterious. Again, the saffron vibe is going to last through and through. The vanilla and the tonka are really going to start to come through as the fragrance dries down. So we're talking 2, 3, 4 hours into the longevity of the fragrance. And also the benzoin, which is a resin that is used in the construction of an amber accord. That one is also going to be more pronounced in the dry down. And benzoin has been compared to the smell of vanilla. It's a bit medicinal smelling, quite resinous, thick, sappy, sticky, viscous, with a vanillic overtone. It can also have a hint of spice to it, which is something that can't be said about other resins like labdanum and copal and galbanum and whatever the case may be. So this is a very beautiful, warm, rich, ambery, coffee-dominant, saffron-based fragrance. And of course, Kaden is a gorgeous fragrance to wear in the fall and winter, albeit, and I just have to call a spade, I don't think it's going to be for everybody. Even if somebody said, you know what, Stephen, I really love my saffron-based fragrances, I'm going to say, okay, if you like the Tom Ford Tuscan leather types of saffron fragrances, that's not going to suggest or imply that you're going to love this one just by the associative properties of the two. But I think you should try this one, especially if you like notes of coffee, if you like the warm ambers, if you like the balsamic notes. This is truly a special fragrance. And, you know, I keep going back to it because it does remind me of a few other niche offerings that I own and love, but not necessarily a one-to-one match with anything. And one thing that I love to do is I love to be able to say, this smells like XYZ fragrance, but it's fresher, or but it's spicier, or it smells the same, but it's longer lasting. And I'm really at a loss for words with this one. It really doesn't smell like any one other fragrance that I've encountered, despite the fact that I can make little comparisons here and there. But at the end of the day, if you love your leathers, if you love your ambers, if you love your resins, Kaden by Omanluxury is such an incredible fragrance. Max Aroma has it for a good price. And I mean, it is a niche offering, so you're not going to end up paying, you know, clone prices for this one. You're not going to pay 30, 40 bucks, but it is an olfactive investment. And so check it out. And if you have the disposable income for it, or if you're in the market for something niche quality, something really high end, and the way that I described it resonates with you, do yourself a favor and at the very least, get a sample from Max Aroma. My suggestion would be don't just get one sample and then pay for shipping. Get a bunch of samples, get a bunch of things that you've been looking to try out. Maybe watch other reviews, not just from myself, but other content creators here on the platform, and put together a sort of wish list for yourself. And then you can end up trying this one in tandem with a bunch of other fragrances. But at the end of the day, Kaden by Omanluxury is such an amazing ambery saffron fragrance, one that I think everybody needs to try. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell of this fragrance, it is quite unique, as I said before, and I cannot stress this point enough. It is a very different take on the note of saffron, which I am truly admiring, and I'm very happy that I cannot make a direct comparison with any one other fragrance that I've tried in my fragrance career, as it were. Longevity on this stuff, 10 plus hours. What even is the concentration of this fragrance? I'm guessing it's an eau de parfum. And so you are going to get a higher concentration of aromatic compounds than something like an eau de toilette or even an eau de cologne. Longevity is 10 hours. As I said, projection is a little beyond an arm's length for an hour of application. So it's going to last a long time, but it's not going to be as crazy diffusive as something like an eau de toilette. Versatility on this fragrance is, I can see some people arguing that it's going to be a little masculine leaning, but amber and leather and coffee, a lot of these are androgynous ingredients. Had it been a bit more heavy-handed on the woods or some of the more traditionally masculine-leaning aromatic notes, I would have said this one is masculine-leaning. But, in today's day and age, everything is unisex. So, and it is marketed as a unisex fragrance. I don't believe it's marketed as a masculine offering. So try it for yourself. I think this one is more of a special occasion scent. So I don't think this one is too casual. So this is one that you want to wear on a special occasion. But my philosophy with regard to that is make every day a special occasion, right? So you don't have to wait for that 1 or 2 days out of the year to wear the perfumes that you really, really love. And then, 5-10 years from now, you're smelling the bottle and it's turned on you, right? So you want to wear your fragrances, especially if you coughed up the money for it, enjoy them as much as you can. That is the whole purpose behind fragrances. You really want to get the most out of them. And Kaden by Omanluxury is quite exquisite. And then as far as the presentation is concerned, there is an outer sleeve on mine, and I did tear it a little bit as I was putting it back on the box, so that's why I'm not showing it on camera. But you do have this beautiful box here, really sturdy construction, and it does have a magnetic component on the lip here, so it actually closes really securely. And of course, as far as the bottle goes, magnetic cap, beautiful atomizer, pressurized, couldn't ask for anything more. And oh my God, just even in the air here, I did 2 sprays, and 2 sprays were quite a bit because this is a denser olfactive profile. My final verdict on Kaden by Omanluxury, it's an amazing fragrance available at Max Aroma with exquisite longevity. This stuff is very powerful, quite potent, rich amber, coffee, saffron, cardamom, boozy notes, and please give this one a try. If you haven't tried this yet, and I know Omanluxury has gotten some mentions here on the platform already, but this is one you definitely have to try if you haven't tried it yet. It is so well done. I am a big fan of this fragrance, and I hope you have the opportunity to try it soon. So thank you so much for joining me today. That was my review of Kaden by Omanluxury, truly an exquisite fragrance. If you took anything of value from today's episode, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and once again, give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me, and it goes a long way. Thanks again for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.